Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of How She Owns It, the self-leadership edition. I have been really excited for the conversation that is about to be shared with you with Teresa because, well, I'm not going to spoil it because I would rather that you shared it. Now, you are the founder of Journey in Kindness, which might give them a little clue as to the things that you're going to be sharing. But rather than me tell them who you are, what you do, what you're all about, and get it completely wrong, I would love to hand it over to you because you will say it far better than I could ever do.
Okay. I actually am a motivational speaker, an award-winning author, kindness guru, if you will. I have two grown sons, and share my home with a cat and a dog who I just tried to kick out of here. We'll see how that worked. And when I'm not doing any of that, I enjoy hiking and walking and kayaking.
Perfect. So, what would you say? In fact, no, I'm not going to start there. I would love actually for you to bring the story to life that you very kindly shared with me that we were just chatting about before we hit record, because I read it and I was blown away and I just thought, oh my God, that's something that definitely needs to be shared. And I know that you'll expand on it beyond what you shared with me. So I can't wait to hear more about it. And I feel like the viewers, people watching this, will gain so much from that as well.
I'd be more than happy to share it.
Yeah.
I was having lunch with a friend one day, and the place was really busy. And we waited and waited, and finally a server comes up and says, "What do you want?" And we're like, "Well, we have a couple questions about the menu. I don't know. I was told to come over and take your order. What do you want?" And like, and we ordered, and everything came out fine. But she never came back and refilled a coffee or a water. And I'm not sure we saw her again until it was time for the bill, which she brought and slammed on the. And literally, my friend and I both looked at each other, and then we just sat back and we're like, we have every right to call that manager over. This was bad. He treated us poorly. And we were talking it out. And then I finally felt this nudge. I was constantly being nudged in my ear. No, no, handle it different, handle it different. I'm like, so I do feel that God was speaking to me at that time. And what we decided to do was pay the bill, leave a normal tip, and then on the receipt, we had a smiley face and wrote, "You are designed to shine." Left everything on the table, gathered our stuff, headed on out the door, and she chased us into the parking lot. And I turn around, she's tears, she's crying. And she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Thank you. I really needed to hear that today." And she turned around on her heel and headed back in the restaurant. And my friend and I got in the car and we're like, didn't see that coming. And so yeah, it was early on in my journey in kindness. And I think it was my first true realization of you never know what somebody's going through. So
Yeah.
always be kind. And I know, I've been talking to other people, and we see it when we go out to restaurants and cafes and coffee shops. For some reason, people think it's okay to be rude to those people, to be rude to those servers. And I don't understand that mentality. And um, and here's a good example of somebody was really hurting. And had we called the manager over, she probably would have been reprimanded or fired at that time. I think that would have just added to her pain.
Yeah.
And this way we softened her pain day.
I'm curious, have you ever been back to that restaurant since and seen her at all?
I have never seen, we've been back, but we have not seen her. We haven't seen her. And we always laugh. We're thinking, think about all the people we saved a bad time. She
Yeah,
was waiting on other people after us.
Yeah, and you're so right though, because you don't know what other people are waking up to and what they're actually dealing with
Mm,
and holding it all together and obviously still going to work because they've got to get paid and pay the bills. And that doesn't excuse the way that she treated you or her behavior. But I think that's such a fabulous thing that you did in just not going the route that most people would go and just
mhm.
thinking about it and looking at it through the lens of how can I perhaps improve this situation
Yeah.
for her, but also selfishly, when we do nice things, it does make us feel good.
Mhm.
Often selfless, but I do feel like it gives us that little bit of a warm feeling maybe in our hearts. And I just think clearly that landed in the way that you would hope, which was to make her feel just incredible, something perhaps she hadn't experienced that day, maybe even for a long time.
Yeah. And that's a lot of conflict. What I've been thinking of, which my thought process has continued over the years since that happened, is that most conflict where they're yelling or they're just being rude, it's not has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
It had something to do, like that girl, whatever happened before she walked through that door that morning, or something that happened last week or 6 months ago, even.
yeah.
Um,
I
you
do.
just don't know.
No, I just love that you did that. And I read it and I just thought, oh my God, that's like, I just really enjoyed reading it. So, what would you say then self-leadership means to you?
Self leadership means taking a look in the mirror. And what example are you setting for, for your people, as I like to say, for people who you are trying to lead? Because yes, they'll follow you. But what are you leading them to?
Yeah. Teresa, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to pause it for a second.
Oh, that's okay.
And yeah, my husband is supposed to be downstairs, but I can hear him actually having a shave now, right outside. Okay. So, what would you say self-leadership means to you?
Self leadership to me, it means looking in the mirror. What are you, I was going to say, leading people to? What example are you setting people who you want to lead? Your people. Where are you leading them? What example do you want to set? And you have to decide, what values do you want to share? What philosophy do you want to instill so that they will carry that on? And it starts with you. It starts with you looking in the mirror and decide making those decisions.
I think you're so right, and we're very similar in that way because I think it's courageous, I think, for when somebody can look themselves in the mirror and see what's really there. But not only that, actually choose to do something about perhaps the things that they feel could be improved or things that need to be changed. And I think often, I don't know if you feel the same, but people feel that those kinds of things or the results or change is always maybe external to them when actually, you're quite right. It starts with us, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I know when I'm doing the kindness speeches or in talking to people in classes and things, I said one of the things I say is if your kindness tank is empty, you can't share that with anybody because there's nothing there. So you have to go inward, take 15 minutes at the end of the day, the beginning of the day. I have one mom who comes home from work and tells the kids 15 minutes and she goes into her bedroom and shuts the door and she fills her kindness tank up, so to speak, and centers herself, takes off the work mom, and puts on the mom hat.
Yeah.
So you have to fill yourself up, and what's inside. If you don't have it inside, you can't share it.
I love that perspective because typically people would describe that as self-care and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves because if our battery's flat, then we can't be
Right.
everything that we want to do and be for everybody else. But I love that you share that through the lens of a kindness tank. Like that's a really different perspective. And I think that's a really cool way of looking at it. I've never ever thought of it that way before. So, um, yeah, that's just like super cool. So in terms of a story or a lesson that you could share? And I know we talked about the restaurant story that you very kindly shared.
Yeah.
Would you say that that particular experience shaped the way that you lead? Or do you have another story or a lesson that you could share that would explain how that impacted the way that you choose to lead?
Yeah, that since it was early on, it definitely has shaped the way I lead. I
Yeah,
know that personal pain is as unique as a fingerprint, and you never know what someone's going through. So you have to be self-aware
yeah,
when responding to those awkward situations. And, the restaurant was a perfect example of changing my perception of the situation. And it paid off in ways I had never even thought of. Another way is, we'll say humor. You can use humor in those awkward situations. And a great story I have on that was a road rage story. I was getting off freeway and was on an exit ramp, and light at the end was red. So we're stopped. The guy in front of me gets out of his car and he is yelling and screaming and coming at me. And I was
wow.
like, and to this day, I have no idea what I did. I have no idea if I cut him off or whatever, but I did something that really made him mad. So I'm looking, going, what am I going to do? I'm sitting, I can't go anywhere. And I don't know why I had this in my car, but I did. So I put it on and I waved at him through the window and couldn't have stopped fast enough. And to this day, I wonder what he's told people when he got to his destination about the crazy lady with the clown. Um, but if you can use one-liners to diffuse a situation, by all means do it. I just am lousy at that, but I like props. And everybody now loves the red cloud nose.
That is hilarious. And so, again, I suppose you've used yourself the best way
Yes,
that you thought how in that scenario to try and make it better for the other person rather than making it mean something about you in terms of what they've been experiencing. And I really love that. That's a powerful thing to be able to do, but not always easy, I would
that's
imagine,
it's
particularly.
not always
Yeah.
easy. That's, we talk about self-care and self-awareness. And as a leader, you have to have those things. Those
Yeah.
things have to come. And if you are self-aware, you have to take a pause,
Yeah.
take that step back. And I do another exercise I practice with people is to take that deep breath. And yes, there's all sorts of breathing techniques and things out there, but I try to keep it simple, just like everything, to make it easier for people. Just stop and take a deep breath in and let it out. And if you want to practice it yourself, you want to practice it with your kids, the best technique is blowing bubbles.
Oh,
Because you have to take a deep breath and blow, then you blow the bubbles. And every time I take the bubbles out, because you had the same reaction most people do. They start to laugh.
yeah.
They start, you already feel good and hadn't even blown one bubble.
That's it.
And it's fun. And then you remember, and your kids will remember because it's fun.
Yeah.
So before, we'll go back to the server story. She's being rude to the max, totally rude. And we literally took that step back at the end of the meal and took that deep breath and said, okay,
Yeah.
what environment do we want to create?
Yeah.
Do you want to create the nasty, negative environment? Or do you want to create the kind, compassionate environment? And you have the ability as a leader to do that, to make that happen. So you choose the environment you want your people to be in.
I love that you want to bring fun, like sense of fun and through your
Yeah.
props and things like that. And I share that as well. So I work as a corporate Wonder Woman as well as coaching, and I lead a team. And so randomly, very similar to you, I've got a bubble machine, but mine is like a unicorn with a handle. So the bubbles go
Cute.
you press the lever
Yep.
and bubbles come out of the unicorn's mouth. So I'll just sometimes, to lighten the mood, if it's been stressful or whatever's going on, I'll just stand there like that with my unicorn bubble gun, just going like that. And it always does make people laugh
It
and lift the mood, doesn't it? Yeah.
does. It does. And we should be laughing. When I ask parents, ask your kids what made them laugh today. What's the kids should be laughing all the time.
Yeah.
But so should adults.
Yeah.
So should we. So we should be sharing that, because if you're not laughing, you're missing so much joy that's out there.
Yeah.
And that's would be another thing as a leader, start practice, celebrate the small wins, the
Yeah.
little things. The report got out on time, you know, because it's always stressful to get those reports together. But she said, you finally, we got all the data and it's out the door. That's
Yeah.
great.
Definitely. So obviously, life is not all sunshine and rainbows and bubbles as much as we would
Yeah.
like it to be.
No.
So during the crazy, messy times, periods maybe of uncertainty, uncomfortableness, how would you say you stay rooted in who you are and bring yourself back to, being that leader, leading with kindness, leading with fun? Um, how do you stay rooted in that during those difficult times?
Yeah, and they're out there. And today I don't know, each day it seems to get worse sometimes. But I take my time in the morning before my day starts. I am intentional about it, and I pray and I ask. I said, okay, this is what's happening today. It's going to be a great day. God bless us. And I go from there. And I go from there. And that starts my whole day off.
Yeah.
And it could be, for somebody else, it might be meditation. The point is, whatever works for you. Mine is prayer, but you might have something else. Be intentional about it and be disciplined about it.
Yeah. I think doing something that you love and that's something that clearly
Yeah.
works, you also love it, um, will always help lift your mood. So regardless of how challenging or difficult the time is or when life's, I think doing things that do fill your kindness tank and make you feel good and lift your mood genuinely can set you up to have a better day than if you hadn't have done those things. And it doesn't mean, I don't believe, that we have to put aside the difficult things that are happening,
Yeah.
but we get to take them with us, feeling perhaps a
Mhm.
little bit brighter and better than we did
Right.
before we even did that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and I just put out of my head what I was going to say.
Not all the time.
As leaders, and you have to, and a good leader has to be on their toes and ready to, dodge and weave
Yeah.
with the things that come up. But it's constantly, even if you have to put it on your phone as an alarm, at least once an hour, do the pause, take those deep breaths, encourage your team to do the same thing. And that's going to help, because when you take that deep breath, you feel the blood pressure lower, and you
Yeah.
kind of feel your head clear a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and especially in today's times, it's kind of a constant. One of the things you said earlier was doing what you love. And I thought, that makes it easier. I was in corporate world for
Yeah.
30 plus years before I ever did this. And I did it. I was good at it, but it was stressful all the time. And I didn't have my tools back then that I have now. But I think now, to be kind to people all the time. This is my life, is
Yeah.
to teach kindness and to teach other people how to be kind and how to be kind to yourself and then give back to others. This is what I get to do. And it makes all the difference. It makes the hard stuff so easy, if that makes sense.
It really does. And even just during this conversation, I can feel how much you genuinely embody that. You're not just saying be kind, do kind things. It's not just words, your actions and the way that you just, like you literally, you're bright and shining that matches everything that you're sharing. So you're clearly embodying it, and it is something that you love, which I love, and I can feel it even on the other end of a screen. It's palpable, really.
Well, and I think one of the other things is being kind changes changes your brain. And um, if you and I share an act of kindness, our serotonin, oxytocin levels go up. Those
Yeah,
are our happy hormones.
yeah,
And then anyone observing that act of kindness, their happy hormones go up too. So from one act of kindness, we've already created this ripple in our own little corner of the world. And if we're all doing that and just focusing on our corner, not anything huge, just right here with what you're doing, then those ripples are going to create a wave that's going to wash across my country and around the world to your country.
definitely. And I think you're right. Just focusing on your corner is the key. And it doesn't have to be big, bold acts. It doesn't have to cost any money, does it? I know something I really enjoy, which is selfish on my part, but if I'm not feeling the best or, I'm a little bit grumpy, I'll put myself in timeout sometimes. But I will decide that I'm going to send other people genuine compliments, and I'll just choose like maybe five people, and I just think I'm just going to make them feel better because selfishly that's then going to make me feel better, and I feel good that I'm doing something good even though I'm not in the best mood. Does that make sense?
It does. And, and on those days, because I have them too, I have them too. And I'm like, I really don't want to talk to, I just want to get this. I don't want to see anybody. But then I kind of force myself, so to speak, to smile and say hi to everybody.
Yes,
And
that's
by the
amazing.
time I get to where I'm going, I feel so much better. And I
Yeah.
hope, and I've acknowledged people, and some people, I think I walk my dog in the morning. I always laugh when people are like startled when I say, good morning. And they're like, what, me? And I'm thinking, am I the only one that has said hi to you all day?
Maybe you are though. That's the thing. Maybe you
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
So, yeah.
What would you like other women to know about owning who they truly are, the things that really light them up, and everything that we've just shared, basically? Is there a message that you could share or something?
Yeah, I think the biggest message is it's simple. You don't have to make it complicated. It can be a simple smile and a hello. It can be a sticky note on your child's mirror in his bathroom, sticky note by your partner's coffee mug,
Yeah.
giving them, I appreciate you, you're smart. It doesn't, same thing with your team.
Yeah.
Send them anonymous emails. I appreciate you. That report last week was awesome. Just, and they don't even have to need to know where it's from, but just that's simple. And it doesn't take much time. And it's simple and make sure you're intentional about it.
Definitely. I love that. And I think, not sure we want to promote sending anonymous emails because we don't want to move into the
Oh, well, yeah.
being a bit stalkerish. Like, I think you're amazing. And before I know it, that's a different story.
Okay.
But no, I like the intention behind that. And I think it definitely is important to celebrate other people for the things that you appreciate in them, the little things that they've done well, because they don't always appreciate that themselves. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes just them knowing and experiencing somebody seeing, oh my God, like somebody thinks I'm amazing. Somebody, they just appreciate my brains, me being me, or whatever it may be. How can that not
Yeah.
make someone feel good?
Well, and one my team building exercise, I mean, there's all the standard ones. I say make team members sit across from each other, and they have to each say five things they admire about that person.
Yeah,
And that's sometimes it's more difficult than others. I'm not going to lie, but you can always find something
yeah.
that you can appreciate about someone.
Definitely. And I think sometimes it just does take thinking outside of the box to not be cliche either, but to come up with things that you really mean and that are going to be appreciated on the other end. And I love that exercise. The thing that I do with my team each month, and they hate it to be honest, but I make them do it. So we have a meeting each month. I'll ask them to celebrates a win that they've had, and then I'll ask them to recognize another team member for something, whatever it may be. They always find it so much easier to recognize another team member than they do to shout the win out themselves. And I
Yep,
feel like that's
love
normal
that.
for
Mhm.
people, isn't it? People can always recognize the good in other people, perhaps quicker than they can recognize it in themselves.
That is so true. That is so true.
So I've loved this conversation. I like you're so bubbly and so bright, and I just love everything that you're sharing and the things that you're doing in the world and the message that you share and celebrate. And for anybody that's watching, if they've loved it as much as I have, Teresa, and they're like, I want to go and blow bubbles with Teresa, where can I find her? Where is she hanging out? Where can they come and find
Find
her?
at journeyandkindness.com and hit that contact button, and I respond to everyone.
Brilliant. And are you on social media as well? Can they come and
I
follow?
am on social media. You'll find me at Journey and Kindness on YouTube. So it's
Yeah.
Journey and Kindness with Teresa. And Instagram, Teresa Ramirez as well. And I'm sure you can list the links for everybody.
Definitely. I was just going to say all of
Oh,
the links that Teresa has just shared. No, don't. I just wanted you to share it as well so that they could hear it. Um, all of the links that Teresa just shared are in the show notes, so you can go and click them, and it'll be dead easy for you to go and find her. But thank you so much for joining me, Teresa. I really have loved this chat.
thank you so much for having me. Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And for anybody watching, thank you so much for joining us. I really hope that you've enjoyed this conversation as much as Teresa and I. We would definitely recommend that you go and buy some bubbles and start blowing them during difficult moments to lighten the mood. But go and follow Teresa, go and find her. And in the meantime, I will see you on the next episode.